Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Ready, Set, Smart webinar series. My name is Ryan Roach, and I'm a smart training specialist from sunny South Florida. So this week's webinar, how to build engaging games, game-based activities that increase student engagement. Also featuring my colleague, Hilary Mativia, also a smart training specialist from Florida. Glad you're here with us today. So at this point, I'm going to turn things over to Hilary so we can dive into today's webinar, how to build engaging game-based activities that increase student engagement.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. I'm so excited for summer, and I'm hoping that this is always the best time to come to a webinar. We can relax, recharge, and learn some new things to take into your next school year. Or if you're like our teachers down here in West Palm Beach, Florida, they are actually still in school till the end of this week. So I know we've got people who aren't quite in summer yet. These games are perfect to end the year. I have this great costume on, but I am going to take my sunglasses off to drive a little easier here. Makes it easier to see our computer. All right, I'm going to share my screen for us to get started.
Looks like we have folks from all around the country.
I know, I see
folks from
that.
everywhere today.
All right, give me 1 second here. Here we go. Brian, let me know when you can see my screen. Is it there for you?
We can see it. It is up and ready to go.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about the delay there. All right, so we are just so excited to kick this off. What are we doing today? Today, our webinar is all about learning to build engaging interactive games in Smart Learning Suite. They are quick and easy to make. We're going to walk you through several different options. And I know Ryan mentioned it, but I want to mention again, today's webinar is meant for you to participate in the sense that I want you to ask questions in the chat, get involved and get curious, because we always have great questions from our teachers and participants, and the more questions you have, the more information we can give. So let's get happy with our keyboard fingers. Want you to really share out what you're noticing, what ideas get sparked in you, and how you plan on using these in your classroom, or what other questions you have. But before we dive in, I have one thing I'd like to share. We have some exciting news and updates to share with you. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video for you.
Hey teachers, we're getting a makeover. Smart Learning Suite Online is the heart of hundreds of thousands of classrooms worldwide, helping students engage, learn actively, and collaborate wherever they are. But we know the name is kind of a mouthful. So starting June 26th, Smart Learning Suite Online will have a bright new name, Lumio by Smart. The little firefly in the logo represents the luminescence, the spark, and the aha lightbulb moments the software is designed to enable in your classroom. All of the features and functionality you know and love are staying exactly the same. Your sign-in URLs, your library of lessons, and all your great content and tools. All of these will remain exactly as they are. The only change to Smart Learning Suite Online will be its name and logo. There is also no change to your software subscription. The Smart Learning Suite will still include Smart Notebook and our great online software, which will now be called Lumio. We hope you're as excited about Lumio's new name and look as we are. Thanks for choosing Lumio for student engagement everywhere.
That is just so exciting to me. We have some great software here, and it's talked about the luminescence and the spark, and so we're changing the name to match what the software can do. And that's what I hope today is for you as we go through these games. You see the spark that can happen in learning with the game-based activities that we have. Ryan, before we dive in, any comments or anything you want to add in?
Not as yet. So I think we're ready to rock and roll.
All right, so we are going to create today, and I'm going to start from the very beginning on how we are accessing Smart Learning Suite, or soon to be Lumio, and start building. So the way that we get to Smart Learning Suite is by going to suite.smarttech.com. You just type it in, suite, it's populated for me, obviously I go there lots, suite.smarttech.com. When you click here, if you haven't logged in before, you will go through that process. There's a big purple button that says Teacher Login. So you'll click that. Now I'm already logged in. So here we are. We've got my lesson populated here. Now, lots of really cool things that we can do in Smart Learning Suite, but today is all about games. So I'm going to hop right to it. I'm going to use this green Add Activities button, which brings me to my Add Content dashboard. And while, like I mentioned, there's lots of different things that we can do, right here it says game-based activities. Now, I'm going to click this and you'll see there's tons of different templates. The different templates all have different features and functions. I've seen some really great ways that you can use these. But if I'm looking at this and I'm brand new to this, I may not know what to do. Well, there is a small description underneath each game. There's also this magnifying glass. This is a preview button. So if I click here, I'll get a video preview of what the game is all about. It has that same description underneath and gives you a little bit more information. Just want to show a couple of previews for you to see here. All right, so I know we're headed into summer. Some of you are already on summer break, some of you aren't there. I'm going to talk just really quickly about why you would want to use games towards the end of the year or at the beginning of the year. Ryan, what ideas do you have?
Definitely to review the content that you've gone over throughout the school year. With a lot of these games, they offer practice opportunities. So sometimes the students don't know that they're actually learning at that particular time, but it's a great way to review the content that you've gone over the school year, and you get the students ready for summer through different activities like we're going to do in some of our examples today.
Yeah, we're going to go totally summer theme today. Try and get excited. The first one I'm going to do today is one of our brand new game-based activity templates, which is down here at the bottom. It's a word search. So I'm going to click this. And what I love about making games in Smart Learning Suite, soon to be Lumio, is that it's pretty intuitive and easy to follow, in addition to being really, really fast. So I love word search as kind of like a brain break activity for vocabulary development. I know, Ryan, you had some different ideas about how you've used word search before. What have you used it for?
I've used it definitely for word and pattern recognition, to review vocabulary words, spelling, obviously. They're fun. And honestly, too, I really like to use them as wrap-up activities. And definitely you can use them kind of in different higher levels. We'll show you how to do that, too, to kind of make it a little bit more rigorous as the students are using the words.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Like I mentioned before, I taught reading, and so in elementary, and so scanning and decoding were two big skills that we worked on often. And so I really loved using word searches to build those skills, especially when we're doing new vocabulary words or new sight words. So to get started with a word search, I'm just going to put in my title here. We're going to put Summer Fun List. And I'm just going to start typing the words. You can put up to 20. All right, Ryan, I'm going to add some of these, but will you share some ideas with me?
Sure. So we have sandals, sunshine,
Got those.
friends.
Plan to see lots of friends if we can this summer.
Baseball. We're known for baseball in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
We love to swim and go to the beach.
Oh, swimming.
Swimming, camping.
Are you a camping fan?
I am. Vacation, watermelon. Who doesn't love a good ballpark hot dog, Frank?
Yeah, me too.
Hot dog, and then ice cream. Obviously, you can't go wrong with ice cream.
So I want to show this. I'm going to put in ice cream. Now, ice cream is 2 words. I'm going to leave this as is for my example today. It doesn't separate it, but you can see the compound whenever we're in the word search. However, for the most part, it's easy to stick to just single words as well. But we'll keep ice cream in here. Now, we have some different options to make this match the needs of our students. One, we can change the grid size. Obviously, the larger the grid size, the more challenging it gets. Smaller the grid size, a little easier. Also great if you have really long words. You can change the difficulty, and if you're not sure on which difficulty setting you should have, underneath in italics, it just says right here, in the easy list, vertical and horizontal words are included. And if you were to choose difficult, vertical, horizontal, diagonal, and backwards words are included. So depending on the skill set of your student, just going to select here. And then lastly, you can choose to show your word list or not, meaning you have a word bank that shows in the game. This would be a really great challenge to do for your students if maybe you're doing like a vocabulary quiz coming up and you want them to be able to spot those words.
So Hillary, we had a great question in the chat. So we have a Spanish
Sure.
teacher with us. So is it possible for the words in the word search to be in Spanish? Or does the word have to be in English?
That's actually a great question. I'm not sure, I think, but maybe I'll call on Jody here. If this supports the Spanish keyboard to show like the tilde and the accents, I'm not positive on that. If we get her
Sure.
name, we can follow up via
We'll
email.
follow up. Sure. And a recording of this will be sent later via
Yes.
email.
Yes. All right. So I've got all my words in here. I've selected my options on the right side. I'm going to go ahead and press next. And now I can choose a theme. So there's lots of different themes in here. Right, as you scroll, you can see now we're talking all about summer. There's this really cute island one, matches my island that I've got here in my background. I'm just going to select this, press finish. Now it's adding this activity, it's creating this game for me. And because it's starting here, it's just going to take a second for it to load. Now, Ryan, you mentioned some of those different options for summer, like camping and baseball and vacation. Do you have any vacations planned for the summer?
Not this summer just yet, maybe in the fall. Being from New England, I love to see the seasons change, even though I'm in sunny South Florida, so maybe a vacation in the fall to see the
That
leaves
sounds like
change.
an awesome option. All right, so here it's input my game. It's got my word search here. One thing that I do like to do is I like to change the title, right, just to be a little bit more descriptive. And to do that, all you have to do is click in and highlight, and it will change. You are able to make a preview, a sneak peek at the student view. So if you're looking to see what the students see, I can press preview. And this gives me the ability to work with the game myself. So I just see baseball, click and drag, and it X'd out baseball for me. All right, here's camping. And you'll notice at the bottom, it does give you hints. So if your students are feeling stuck or defeated, maybe they're not getting this as quickly as they want, we've built in a way for the students to get ahead and get started. All right, that G, oh, there's the word hot dog. Okay, so that's our word search. I do want to point out one more thing here, that you have the ability to edit the game after it's been made. So maybe you see a typo, or like I mentioned, that ice cream word, it's 2 words. I don't want it on there because it looks incorrect to my students. I can just go ahead and delete it, press next, change the theme if I want, and press finish. And like we said at the beginning, creating these game-based activities is so quick and easy that it definitely took me less than 5 minutes to do. But I think we should go on and see some other ones. What do you say, Ryan?
Sounds good. Let's keep it going.
Okay, so for the first game, we started from the Smart Learning Suite or Lumio lesson library. We used the green Add Activities button. But now I'm in a lesson. I want to keep adding to this same lesson. Where I add the games is using this blue and white plus bar down at the bottom. And this will bring my Add Content screen back. We're going to follow the same exact path that we followed before. We choose Game-Based Activities. And from here, we can select another option. Now, I'm going to show you one of my favorites because there are so many different ways that you can use this one. And it's rank order. Let's take a quick preview. Here you can see the student is dragging in the elements from lightest to heaviest. This is a great way so many different ways to use sequencing and comparison. I'm going to go ahead and select here. Now, I taught reading, so I would use this for doing summary or retell of a story or working on our writing skills. Ryan, you worked with special ed, and you had some really unique ways that you've used rank order in the past.
Sure. So I would use it for social stories, also help students with job placement. So just to show visuals, what happens first when you apply to a job. It also just really helps with getting students the ability to, organize their thoughts, problem solving skills as well. So really good. Sequencing is a skill that we all need.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one of the reasons I wanted to highlight this is it's an especially great game for our English language learners or our pre-readers because you don't have to use text. You can also use images. So I'm going to model that here, and we're going to sequence the steps for how to build a sandcastle. So in order to add images, I just select this image icon. And I have 2 options. One, I can choose to upload images from my device. Or right embedded in the game, there's a quick and easy way to search the internet for games. So I can search sand. And I've got all these different options. I'm looking for beach sand. So here is sand at the beach. I press OK. And it inputs the image as my first choice. I can do this for a couple of more. Do sandcastle tools. Right. Got all kinds of different things. We'll use this shovel here. A little sand rake. Okay, now I'm looking for a kid who's maybe building a sandcastle.
This definitely saves teachers time now.
Oh my gosh.
Being able to search these images. We also have some great examples where you can obviously use it for math, which would be great for solving equations with images too.
Yeah, or like place value, ordering numbers from greatest to least. All right, we're gonna look for our last finished sandcastle. Ooh, epic sandcastles here. Let's get one that kid could do. One's cute, little kids working right there. On that finished one, any more we want to use? All right, press OK, and now it's inserted. Now, just like the last game, it's really intuitive and easy to see. On the right-hand side, you're able to see what options you have. So I want to talk about check answers for a moment. In this example that I'm giving, there is a correct way that I want my students to order these steps here. There is a sequence. All right, so I can have it where it's checked instantly. I can have it where it's checked when prompted, which means at the end, or I can have a don't check rank order. We talked about a lot of different ways that you can use rank order for reasons you wouldn't want to check. One example I have is using it to order something about opinion for like, what are the best skills needed for college readiness? Ryan, you had some specific social studies examples.
Yeah, so with social studies, I taught about the Harlem Renaissance. So students can maybe rearrange or arrange the different important figures in different times. So who was the most significant over the course of time, or maybe during the Industrial Revolution, what invention was the most important of that time? So maybe assign the students a writing prompt as well.
Yeah, we talked about that spark, right? Like maybe we can rank their opinions here, and that will spark an idea in them and get them to writing or spark some discussion between their peers. Yeah. All right, so I can change the labels, right? We talked about most important, least important. We're going to keep mine as first and last because we're going in order. And that's the default. So if you don't put anything there, it's going to say first and last. I'll press next. Now this brings me to my theme. I could, if I wanted to, add a custom background to this one, or I can just continue to use the smart already made themes. I'll use the simple here and then press finish. Now it's added my game just directly below my word search. So I can put in the title. I like to do this, how to build a sandcastle sequence. And I can get a preview just by selecting preview. And here we go. So this is exactly like the students will experience here. I'm going to drag these in order, right? You can rearrange them. So I have students who like to use this space to kind of practice it before they put them in here. But you notice that these images aren't huge. You do have the ability to zoom in. So using this blue square, I can click and zoom and to enlarge the photo. So if students aren't quite sure, they can look and see. All right, so I'm going to drag these in here. One of the reasons I love these games is that I'll get one wrong on purpose. Oh, I got them all right. I'll do it again while I get one wrong on purpose. All right, so it's finished. I'm going to reset because I want to show you what happens when I get one incorrect. All right, because I have it on instantly checked, it just pops it right back out there. So this has some built-in, like no fail, repeated review. This is great for trying on things independently, right? Maybe we're not ready to assess our students and give them a grade on something, or we just want to use it as practice. I love that my students can have some built-in trial and error until they get it cracked. Just reinforce their learning.
And I also like it too, because sometimes our students finish before others. They're quick, so the students can go and try as many times as they want.
Yeah, or like my students who maybe need a little bit more time, I can say, hey guys, we've got 5 minutes to work on this. And my students who need a little bit more processing time, That's a no stress way because they obviously know that this is not going to take them 5 minutes. But my students who are rushers and who are just going to do it as fast as they can, over and over, they can play this game as many times as they need to get it right. All right, so that was rank order. We talked about all kinds of different ways to do that. I've got another one that I want to show. It's called a fill in the blank. I'm going to go to the blue and white plus button, following the same path to game-based activities, and select here for fill in the blanks. Now, this activity teaches deduction, composition, memory. There's so many different ways that you can use it. It doesn't have to just be for language arts. There's all kinds of different ways. Ryan, I know that you really enjoy using the fill in the blank whenever you're doing teaching and training. Do you have anything you want to add about using fill in the blanks?
I definitely think with using the fill in the blank, students can kind of basically without just guessing, the students have to, use the information that they've kind of mastered in filling in different blanks. I like to use it when introducing or teaching the students about poetry so they can finish short words or phrases. So it's a great example. And I know don't want to talk about, but a lot of states were coming out of that testing time, but the fill in the blank is a good game-based activity to use to get the students ready for some of those state testing.
I think that's a great point. Now you can type directly in here, right? I like to include my directions on the page. That is personal preference. You don't have to do that. And you can also copy and paste. So I like to copy and paste, especially if I'm pulling from older resources that I have and I want to update them. I like to do that. So I'm going to copy and paste my sentences here. And I'm doing some summer synonyms not synonyms, summer antonyms. All right, so I just copy and pasted those. And so what I want here is I'm putting two different words, right? Show and hide, those are the opposites, in the same sentence. So what I want my students to do is to put the correct word in the space, the antonym at the end of the sentence. But I need to define what the blank is going to be that my students are going to select. So at the bottom, after I've entered my text, I select define blanks. And now I can click the vocabulary word I want my students to use. So my sister cannot go in the deep end or the shallow end of the pool. Close the bread so it stays fresh or stale. The hotel is full. The hotel is vacant. At the beach, we will create a sandcastle or destroy a sandcastle. I hope no one's destroying other people's sandcastles, although it's fun to destroy your own at the end. All right, and now on the right-hand side, I have those same exact options to check my answers. Do I want it to be when prompted at the end, instantly, or not to check at all? In this case, I'm going to keep it as when prompted. Now I'm going to press next. And we talked about this on the previous one that we did on the rank order, but we have the ability to customize our theme. Ryan, what are some of the ways that you've customized themes for fill in the blanks?
What I did is I worked with some teachers, some middle school teachers, some civics teachers, and they were introducing the students to different Supreme Court cases. So they put different images of the Supreme Court or of that specific case to kind of go with the theme of how the students are going to, complete the fill in the blank.
That's a great idea. How I kind of view it is like a Zoom background for your fill in the blank. So let's check out how to do it. I'm going to select custom and press next. And then from here, I have a couple of different options. I've got some text options. I have a page rotation. In this one, it's the same icon that we have before. It's the image icon. If I click here, I can choose to upload a background from my desktop, or like before, I can add online images. So we're talking about summer. We talked about the beach. So I'm just going to look up summer background. And lots of different choices, but I think this pineapple wearing sunglasses reminds me of you, Ryan, with your sunglasses on. So I'm going to press OK. So you'll see my selected images here. And I can crop this as needed, but I like how it looks. I don't want to worry about it. So I'll just press save. And there you can see it's uploading my custom image to the back. So I'll press finish. We'll check it out like we've done the others. I'm going to do antonym, fill in the, a little typo here. All right, now take a preview. And from here, I can click and drag. So I want my students to try out the different words. And my little instructional practice for this is a good test taking strategy is like, try out the words we don't know. I blank my summer pass at the water park. I fresh my summer pass. No, that doesn't make sense. I show my summer pass. That sounds like it's right. All right, let's find the opposite of show. Is the opposite of show fresh? No, and they go down the list until they find the correct one. And this is how fill in the blank works. My students have always loved this. Tactile act of clicking and dragging is really useful for the students. And I want to go ahead and finish this so that you can see how this works. I'm going to get some wrong so we can see what it looks like. Okay, so it says check answers. And it says, oh, okay, all these ones with the green you got right. All the ones with the red you got wrong. So the students are able just to put these back in the word bank and try again. And now we can check. Okay, I got them all right. And just like we mentioned before, for those quick finishers, they're able to reset and play again. For those students who need a little more time, they're working at their own pace, which is great. It gives you time to confer, to meet with students in small groups. It just gives you some flexibility as an instructor. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and exit there. As always, if you wanted to edit, make your directions more clear, change some of the words, you can press edit. Now I want to point this out because it's just a little bit different for fill in the blank. This looks different than how you typed it, but if you just press define blanks, it goes back to that screen you were on, and I just unselected the word. All right, I'm not going to save my changes, just discard. Okay, Ryan, I want to pause for just a moment because our next game is a little bit more advanced, not really, but just a little. So I want to see what questions popped up, if there's anything in the chat that I can answer before we go ahead and move along.
No, I think we're ready to move on. We have some questions, but I'll save one of the questions to the end.
Cool.
I think we're ready to kind of go on and do our last activity.
Okay, so this last one is a bonus for you. What I wanted to do was to challenge your thinking about how you're thinking about game-based activities. This next one that I'm going to show is called a flip out. So first I'll give you a preview. I went to the blue and white plus button. I'm selecting game-based activities, and here's flip out. I can use this to get a little preview. Now, these just look like flashcards. There's so many great ways that we can use flashcards. They are tried and true practice. But as we are moving towards different instructional practices and doing student-led learning, I love to use flip out as choice boards or as tasks for my students, just to give them some more options. So pairing this with another activity in our classroom. So here's my flip out. I'm going to select activity. And on the left-hand side, it's the face up of the cards. And then obviously where it says facing down, it's what the students don't see. So I'm going to do this as like I mentioned, some activities for our students to do on their own to give them some student choice. So on this side, I'm going to put read first directions. Okay. And on the back, I'm going to give them the directions for this activity. Okay, so I'm just going to press, I copy pasted. You can type it in. I'm a slow typer, so I'd prefer to not have a bunch of typos in front of you guys. It just says choose. I'm going to put 3 cards and explain your answers by writing or drawing in your notebook. Okay, you can use this all kinds of different ways. But what we're going to do is we're going to do summer would you rathers. All right, if you want to answer some of these in the chat, you can. All right, so just for time purposes, I'm going to copy and paste would you rather a couple of times down. Would you rather, would you rather, would you rather? And then put the questions on the face down side. So would you rather swim in the lake or swim in the ocean? Ryan, answer.
Let's say the ocean. Salt water is good for you.
Yeah, me too. All right, go camping or stay in an RV?
I'd say I like the RV.
RV? No, I don't think I've ever done an RV.
Glamping.
Glamping, exactly. Eat only watermelons or only hot dogs?
We talked about this yesterday. I think we're going to go with the hot dogs, the ballpark franks with all those toppings. So
yeah.
Watermelon, I guess we can have that.
It's just watermelon. You can only add like salt. That's it.
Yeah.
Hot dogs, you can have a chili dog. You can have a Chicago dog. So many different ways you can have a hot dog. All right. Would you rather amusement park or water park?
I say the water park.
Really?
I'd say the
I'm
water
an
park. Or maybe
amusement
you can,
park.
sometimes you can do both. In Orlando, you can do both. You can do the water
It,
park and the
this
amusement
doesn't
park.
say and or. So you've
But
got to choose.
sometimes you do. I say the water park. It gets hot during the summer. I like to just be in the lazy river.
All right. Would you rather fly kite or blow bubbles?
Fly kite.
Fly kite, yeah. Bubble machine all the way, right? Okay, so I've got my questions here, and as you guys can see, this already sparked some conversation between Ryan and I, and it's a really fun group activity. The kids really get into this Would You Rather. There's so many instructional ways you can use Would You Rather just to engage those kiddos. They get really passionate, and you'll see some passionate writing. It's really fun. All right, so got all my info in here. Want to press next. Like I mentioned before, you can do a custom theme on a flip out, or you can go with one of the options that's already here. Sticking with our summer theme, I'm gonna go with Jungle Island and press finish. So, of course, I'm gonna put Would You Rather and pique the curiosity of my students. And I can preview it here. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, here it says read first directions. Okay. Now, one cool thing about Flip Out is that these are movable. So my students, if you're using this for traditional flashcards, I always tell my students, all right, the left side is what you know, the right side is what you don't know. So if you wanted to, rearrange them, they can do that. They have that ability to organize the space. In this case, I said they needed to choose 3 cards. So they can put their discards on one side and their chosen cards on the other side. Okay, just, oh, I don't want to do that one. That was not as fun as this one, right? So they're their chosen ones. And it's just some engagement here for the students as they want to do that. I'm going to go ahead and reset. And there we go. All right, so we've got lots of different games, but it's already 4:35. And so in order to save time for our Q&A, our closing remarks, I want to just do a really brief high-level overview of what we did today, and then I'll open up for some of those questions. So the first thing I did, I'll just save this. All right, so the first thing I did was I went to suite.smarttech.com and I signed in. Now, for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through those steps, but I'm sure we can give you that link if you need it. It's suite.smarttech.com. And here I am at my Smart Learning Suite or Lumio lesson library. And I access my games by going to the green Add Activities button. This does bring up my Add Content screen. So if I wanted to, I could start the game-based activities from here. I showed everybody that we do have that preview button. So if you wanted to add, if you weren't sure which one you wanted to add and wanted to get a preview, you can add it from there after you check out a preview. I do want to just make one little addendum to what I said earlier. Here's my webinar file for today. You are always able to add content to your pre-existing lessons. So if you have a lesson that you want to add a review in, I just am editing my Smart Learning Suite lesson. And the way we add when we're in edit mode is by using the blue and white plus button. We just go back to that add content screen and select game-based activities. All right, with that being said, I'm going to present this for us. And I want to go ahead and open it up. Ryan, what questions do we have?
Sure. So we had a good question that is a good whole group question. So which of these games are for the smart board or for whole class activities, and which ones are for student devices? So again, which of these are for the smart board for the whole class for activities, and which are for student devices?
Siri was trying to answer your question. All right. So first of all, if you have Lumio, you don't need a smartboard to do this with Smart Learning Suite. This can be done. Obviously, I'm not on a smartboard. I'm on my laptop. That's all you need. However, they do look really impressive and very nice on a smartboard if you have one. So one way that you can tell the difference is on the game-based activity templates, there is a little indicator that says devices required. All right, so that is a good indication that you'll need students to be on their own devices. All the rest can be played on a student device or on the Smart Panel. And these two specifically, Monster Quiz and Team Quiz, are best played in a synchronous environment where students are on their own devices. I have a couple preferences for which I prefer that look really, really great on a smartboard: Game Show and Speed Up. We didn't talk about those today, but if you're curious, go ahead and press that preview button and you can check it out. Question, what other questions do we have, Ryan?
All right, so Kevin asked, currently it seems as though building slides in Notebook. So we are continuing to kind of add different activities and your editing abilities in Lumio. So within Smart Learning Suite Online, so we continue to kind of build different ways in which you can utilize Smart Learning Suite or Lumio. So building slides within Smart Learning Suite Online, as you mentioned earlier, Hillary, you can add them to different activities or they can be standalone games.
Yeah, will you repeat his
Sure.
question for me?
So he asked, currently, it seems like you're able to build slides within Notebook. Are there any plans to kind of have other functionality into Lumio with certain things that you can do with Notebook? Can you do it in Lumio?
Okay, yes. So one, the cool thing about Lumio / Smart Learning Suite is that you can pull in content from multiple places, right? So if you have a preference to build in Notebook, if you have a preference that you build in Google Slides or PowerPoint, you are able to pull those into Lumio and use the content that you already have. And as we are improving our product, we are taking that teacher feedback and we are making updates where you are able to do more creation for pages in Lumio. Yes. Like Ryan mentioned.
So another question is, so at the end of a couple of the games, you're able to review or reset. What does the review button do?
Review shows you which answers you got right or wrong. And then it allows you just to so if you're playing it like on the Smart Panel, for example, you can press review and overview those questions with the students to do some repeat or some direct teaching. Reset just starts the game over.
Okay. And then the last question, I think this was asked again, but depending on, what school district you may work for, or maybe you have your own account, can you use these on Basic Smart?
Yes, so Lumio is free for educators. You don't need to have a paid subscription to use it. So yes, you don't have to worry about whether your district has it or not. As long as you have a teacher account, you are able to use it.
Awesome.
Is that all of our questions?
Yeah, so that's all the questions that were in the chat. So
I'm going to hand it back over to you, Ryan. I know you've got some closing remarks for us.
Yes. So what I'm going to do now is basically have a resource page here. So what we'd like for you to do is we'd like for you to connect with us. So again, you can email us at implementationteam@smarttech.com. So please connect with us, follow us on social media. We also, again, have more webinars coming up. So next week, getting started with Smart Learning Suite Online, so you can register for next week's webinar. So again, we'd love for you to also join our global community of educators. We had a lot of great people from around the country, but we're international. So, and you can always collaborate with other teachers from around the world. So please join our Smart Ambassadors. So I placed that in the chat. And then also too, our webinars are coming to an end since the school year is kind of winding down. So we only have one webinar left, I believe. So just a couple of webinars left. So I'll place that in the chat where you can find more information to register for some of the other webinars that we have coming up in the next few weeks or so.
And I'll stay on for a few more minutes if we have any more questions.
Yeah, and if anyone has, again, any more specific questions.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
All right, so the last link in there is for the feedback survey.
Oh, it is not for the feedback survey. Let's try that again. Here we go.
So we do have another question. Will the word or picture lists be able to be saved in future lessons?
Oh, great question. Yes, it can. This is one of our most recent updates. If you make a game, let's say I made that summer words, the word search, and I want to use it in another game. I'll just share my screen again for this. share screen. Let me know when you can see it, Ryan.
All right, there it is.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to my edit lesson. So actually, I'll start from the beginning. Bear with me as I click through to get to home screen. All right, so 1, yes, my games are saved. I saved all of my 4 games right here, okay? Let's say I wanted to add these games to a whole nother lesson. I can add them into any by going to edit the specific lesson where I want to add the games. This is a totally different webinar. I'm so glad to answer it though. This blue and white plus button down here. Now, instead of starting over from scratch, what I can do is I can import from my Lumio/Smart Learning Suite library. And here's my games. I just press select. And it's making a copy of all of those games, and I can choose exactly which ones I want to input into this lesson. This is awesome for review. So if I am teaching a unit on nonfiction and I had a game that I did the first week and the second week and the third week, and I want to combine them all, I just select which game I want. So I will choose the word search. I press add, and now it's importing that word search directly into my game here, or directly into my lesson here. A great question.
All right, well, I think that was the last question. That
Yeah.
came through.
Thanks, Ryan.
Sure. Well, hopefully everyone enjoys their summer. Again, learning never stops. So over the summer, please, you know, continue to use these different games or get yourself ready for next school year. So thanks for joining us again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.